Hello, everyone. This is part two of my lecture named 70 Years of Genocide in East Turkestan is Enough. World, please save Uyghurs from eradication by neo-Nazi China's communist regime. Let me start by answering the question of where is East Turkestan? East Turkestan is a Central Asian country covering an area of 1.8 million square meters, over 695,000 square miles. It is under China's military occupation since 1949, when China's Communist Party, CCP, took power. It was renamed as New Territory Uyghur Autonomous Region in 1955. Who are Uyghurs? Uyghurs are the majority people in East Turkestan. The total population of Uyghurs in East Turkestan is generally estimated as around 16 million by reliable international sources. However, there are somewhere between 20 to 35 million Uyghurs in the world, based on various Uyghur sources. The most of Uyghurs reside in Central Asia. There are a certain number of people in Germany, Holland, England, Finland, Norway, Russia, Australia, Turkey, Japan, United States, and the other parts of the world. I did an estimation, and I estimated it is between 25,000 to 30,000 in those countries listed. These are the faces of Uyghurs. As you can clearly see, Uyghurs are genetically different than Chinese, with significant Caucasian features. Historically, Uyghurs are Central Asians and speak Uighur, which is a branch of Turkic language family derived from Chagatai Turkish. Uighur culture is an inseparable component of the culture of Central Asia. Their foods, dresses, dwellings, and cultural customs are essentially that of Central Asia. A traveler going through Central Asia to East Turkestan would hardly tell any difference between the people of Central Asia and the local inhabitants of East Turkestan. As a matter of fact, before the Chinese Communist occupation of East Turkestan in 1949, Central Asia, including East Turkestan, existed as an entity for thousands of years without actual cultural borders existing among different Turk nationalities. Now, let me talk about the China's repressions in recent years. Massive concentration camp system. I've already said that China has set up hundreds of internment camps across East Turkestan and locked up around 3 million Uyghurs. 1.5 was confirmed by international trusted sources, and other ethnic Muslim groups, and indoctrinate them to become loyal Chinese citizens. Massive orphanage schools for Uyghur children. As 20% of Uyghur adults live in concentration camps, it was estimated that more than 500,000 children have been put into orphanage or boarding schools run by non-Muslims. They are forced to leave the Chinese way of life without interaction with their own cultural heritage. Enforced marriage with Han. Chinese government enforced Uyghur girls marry Chinese males from inner provinces. Refusal of marriage is regarded as an act of Islamic fundamentalism crime for putting into concentration camps. And China named them as re-education schools or vocational training schools. Coerced sterilization and abortion. Female Uyghur prisoners were forcibly taking pills and injection that led to sterilization during their internment. Enforced abortion has been widespread across every Uyghur villages or towns. A number of female escapees from China's concentration camps testified the sterilization and verified by Western doctors. China has been implementing enforced abortion for over 40 years. This is also a world-known fact. Massive high-tech surveillance. Nearly entire Uyghur population are being closely monitored and controlled 24/7, 365 via high-tech devices such as smartphones, internet, facial and voice recognition, and biometric IDs. There are checkpoints in every corner of the streets in every town. The assessment and activities required employment of 90,000 paramilitary force and 1.1 million civil servants. Live organ harvesting. Two new reports concluded that China is engaging in organ harvesting against the country's Uyghur Muslim population. One is from China Tribunal titled China Killing Prisoners to Harvest Organs for Transplant. Says the tribunal's members are certain, unanimously, and sure beyond reasonable doubt that in China, forced organ harvesting from prisoners of conscience has been practiced for a substantial period of time, involving a very substantial number of victims. Secret transfer of prisoners. Based on several trusted international sources, China has mass transferred more than 500,000 internment camp prisoners to China's facilities in internal provinces for further imprisonment, allegedly human organ banks. Massive spy network. China has built spy network within Uyghur community around the world. It infiltrated to nearly all Uyghur overseas organizations, human rights organizations, using 3G technology such as WeChat, Google, Facebook, and other social media to attack Uyghurs who are advocating East Turkestan independence, providing evidence of concentration camp, and bloggers who are criticizing China's communist regime. As a result of the spy network, vast majority of Uyghurs on the planet are afraid to speak up and act as eyewitness for China's atrocity because of fear of potential danger of persecution to friends and relatives. raping and discrimination of spouses of prisoners. Chinese male officials moved into Uyghur homes to monitor daily activities. Government knowingly encouraged so-called cadres, rape, intimidate, discriminate, and abuse family members, such as sleeping between mother and daughter of Uyghur inmates. Secret assassination and summary execution. China has been secretly conducting assassination ever since 1949. The government has openly executed several thousand so-called criminals who perpetrated the crime to overthrow China's government without due legal process and proper trials. A lot of them died as the result of committing very minor crimes, such as arguing with officials, fist fighting, or knife fighting with Chinese. The body of the dead was disappeared without any traces. Policemen were ordered to kill on the spot if encountering any resistance from Uyghurs. Mass arrests and charges of Uyghur intellectuals and government officials. Since 2016, Chinese government have secretly arrested and charged possibly thousands of well-known Uyghur scholars, writers, poets, artists, singers and dancers, government officials, and professors. Anyone, despite his or her social position, will be deemed as spreading separatist idea, religious extremist, harm the stability of the country, and punished heavily without any legal procedure. Dr. Halmurat and Dr. Tayyip were sentenced to death. Even the Uyghur Autonomous Region chairman, Mr. Nurbekri, who is supposed to be the most trustful Uyghur by CCP, was sacked and charged without any legal process. Religious discrimination and persecutions. Devoted Muslims are restricted from practicing religious rituals, follow rules of Islam, owing Holy Quran, exchanging ideas about Islam. Private prayer meetings are considered serious religious extremism activity. Any Uyghur could be imprisoned by blackmail from any ordinary Chinese. Any Uyghur who commits minor injury to Chinese could be punished with terrorist crime. Forcing Uyghur Muslims eat pork and drink alcohol. There are numerous photos, posts, and video clips smuggled out of East Turkestan where Muslims were forced to eat pork against Islam's basic doctrines. Muslims are forced to work in poorly equipped pig farms. Those who show any resistance would be put into re-education camps or vocational training schools for long-term brainwashing and torturing. Uyghurs are forbidden to speak, write, publish, and educate by their own language. Uyghur language was officially banned in all public and private schools for almost 10 years. Uyghur families are restricted to speak in their mother tongue at home or social gatherings, if any. All government officials are required by law to only speak Chinese. China created a generation who cannot speak, write, or communicate in Uyghur, by frequently introducing so-called new alphabet for the last 70 years. Uyghur publications are disappearing in higher speed. Speaking Uyghur language could also be considered as a separatist sign and face serious consequences. Thank you for listening. Please stay tuned for the next part.